Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video, and today will be part 1 in my tutorials of how to fly line of sight acro. And now this video has been a long time coming and tons of you guys have requested it, but before we get into the fun stuff, which is flying, we need to talk about some other stuff first. So when a lot of people want to get into the hobby, they see these cool racing quads and they think, oh, I want to go and build one. I want to go for the most power possible, or they want to buy it ready to fly. But for line of sight, or even just for regular flying, I would highly recommend picking up something like this, or one of these, just a toy quad, probably brushed, something that's not going to have as much power. It's a lot cheaper, and it'll just help you learn to fly. And now some people have issues with these because most of them, well, this one actually does supply acro, but these come with self-level mode, so angle. So when you, if you tilt it and when you let go of the stick, they'll always level back. So they can be a lot easier, but a lot of people think that they teach bad habits. So when switching to acro flying, it can be really difficult. However, I didn't really find that, but I mean, it's up to you. But I definitely recommend getting a toy quad because you'll spend, less than $100 instead of, $600 for the whole setup, because the first mini quad is always the most expensive because you need all the tools, soldering iron, the batteries, the chargers, everything. After that, they get a lot cheaper. Alright, so next up is orientation. And now orientation means that you know when you're flying, say this is the front, that you know that's the front and you keep it, because if you think this is the front and then you pitch forward, it's going to be going away from you and then bad things will happen. Now this was single-handedly the biggest thing that kept me from doing this video so far, because when I think about it, that's the biggest problem. People have orientation, and how can you teach orientation through a video? So, that's the kind of the biggest thing, but to help you out, you definitely want to have brightly colored props that are different, so you can try and separate the front from the back. You can see on the Beast X here, I have pink in the front and blue in the back. You do not want to do something like this on my Raptor that has all clear, because it makes it very hard to discern the orientation there. Other colors that are good, yellow props are good, they show up well. Pink and white, they show up very well, especially these white HQ, and the solid colors do better, but these semi-translucent ones like these gem fans also do pretty well. Some colors you definitely want to avoid, once again, are the clears. Something that's a lighter color, or a darker color, like a dark blue like this Cyclone, as well as black. These, when spinning, pretty much disappear from sight, so then you have nothing to go on. And if you take a look at this Dromeda Ominous that I mentioned earlier, this was definitely marketed towards beginners, and you can see they made it very easy for orientation. You have very nicely bright colored green props up front, black in the back to help you know where the front is. It's sort of got this nose thing up here, so that's kind of pointing forwards, because anything that can help you with orientation is good, as well as they have green lights and white lights in the back, so they're differentiating with lights as well. So props, a nose, something like this, and lights will definitely help. I've seen Flight Test, actually a video a long time ago, they put a giant arrow on the quad. Whatever you need to do, definitely do it to help you out. Alright, so next, before we get flying, let's first discuss the flight modes. So a lot of times people will have angle mode, horizon mode, and acro mode set up on a switch, a 3-position switch such as this one on your radio here. And angle mode is self-leveling mode. That means if you have your quad here and you move the stick to the left all the way, if you hold it all the way, it'll go to a certain angle and it'll just hold that. And it won't go any farther than that. And as soon as you let go of the stick, back to the middle, it'll self-level there. Same with backwards, it'll just go back until you let go and then it'll go forwards. Horizon mode is a little bit different. It uses the similar bank limiting as angle mode does if you push, but if you go only about halfway, it'll hold that level. And then if you let go, it'll snap back to center. But if you go all the way past a certain point, it will actually do a flip in that direction. So it's kind of like a in-between mode, and I don't really recommend it. And lastly is acro, which is fully manual. So this is the mode that I'm trying to teach you guys how to fly line of sight in today, and this is what all the top pilots fly, or anybody really, because it's just so much, you have so much more control. It's not limiting you like angle mode is, and once you get it down and you learn it, it's just so much more freedom. So say we have it in acro mode here. If we take our radio and if we push it to the left with our stick here just a little bit, it's going to tilt there and it'll keep tilting. As if we hold the stick, it'll just keep going at that same rate. So think of, if you go any direction, it's like how far you go is how fast you want it to turn that direction, because it's going to keep going At that speed, if you push it farther, it'll go fast, and all the way it's going to go really fast, depending on your rate setup. And as for rates, I'd recommend just starting out, if you just want to leave them as stock Betaflight, that would probably be better. I believe that's a 1 RC rate and a 0.7 rate value there. And you can look up other videos if you want to understand more about how the rate system works, because as you progress, you're definitely going to want to put those higher. So the hardest thing with Acro that people don't understand is if we tilt it to say we tilt it to this angle and we let go of the stick, instead of like both other flight modes, it's not going to snap back to level. It's just going to keep going that direction until you manually go the other way. Say we're this way, we're just coasting, and then if we tilt the stick the other way, level out, and then if we let go, at the time it's level, it'll stay that, but if we go too far, it'll go the other way and then keep going that way. So that's definitely the hardest probably thing for people to get down, is you have to constantly manually correct your changes. Now the other thing along with orientation is when the front's away from you and the back's towards you, left is left, right is right, back, you know, they're all the same. But as soon as you turn, say we do a 90-degree turn to the left here, the front is now this way, which is why orientation is so important. Because if we press left on the stick, like normally it would do this to the left, but now that we're this way, it's not going to go to the left. It's going to go to its left. You have to think of it as this is the front and this is what it's based off of. So it's going to go to the left, but that is back towards us. So you kind of just have to imagine it like you're in a plane, like you're going along, and this is forwards. You're still going forwards. Say you're doing a yaw turn, which spins it this way. You're going forwards. It's just going to keep going forwards according to wherever the head is. So that's the most important thing to remember. And like I said, I just try and imagine that I'm like sitting up front in the seat. So if it's facing this way away from me, I know that back and a little bit to the left is going to bring it back to me. Or if it's this way, I know that to the right is going to pull it towards me. It's hard to explain, but you just have to imagine that this is the front, not whatever way you're looking at. And especially when you go nose in, which is the front towards you, now everything is reversed. Left is to the right, right is to the left, forward is towards you, and back is away from you. So once again, just try and remember. That's why orientation with the colors is so important, because if you lose which way is the front, then you're going to be pretty bent out of shape there. And one thing you can do with the auto level modes is you can leave that on, but just have it on a switch. So in case you do get into trouble and you're upside down or something, you don't know what's going on, you can just flip it back into auto level and it will right itself and hopefully save you the cost of a crash. Alright, so finally let's get into flying. So let's just get the right model on my transmitter here. There we go. And plug in the quad. Make sure everything's level, get the GoPro recording. Alright. So here we are, so just gonna arm and try and take off. And the first thing that we're gonna try and do is just hold a steady hover here. And you're gonna find right away that probably your throttle, you're gonna go up and down like that a lot. And you can see you're gonna have to try and find the medium. You're not too high in climbing, and you're not too low in descending. And if you want to arrest your fall, say you're coming down, you're going to have to go high for a little bit and then come back to the middle and just try and find right there that point where it hovers. And depending on your radio and your setup, you're going to have to keep adjusting that. Alright, so assuming if you had that down, probably if you've flown auto level before, you will know how to do throttle management at least some point. We're going to try pitching to the left and then just seeing how it responds. You see how it holds that level as soon as I let go? It just holds it. To the right, and you see how I have to come back to the middle and come across to the other side to stop. But if I go too far, it'll go the other way. So you can see it'll hold, and I have to come back to the center. Hold, I have to go left to stop it. I went too far, back to the right a little, there we go. And depending on your rates, you will have to go different amounts either way. But just I want you to get used to that. Just go to the right, try and get it back to level, go left, get it back to level. Just try and go back and forth like that, just so you understand, and then maybe do it a little bit faster. And you're going to have to keep managing your throttle once again, because when you pitch over, you'll have less thrust pushing you up, because you'll be using some to push you to the side, so you're going to need more thrust, more throttle when you're banked at an angle than when you are just hovering flat. So next we're going to try and go forwards and backwards once again. Just pull it back, try and level it out. Right there, just try and level it out. And it's important that you, when you're trying to learn, just try and do it over a soft surface like tall grass. You know, you don't want to be doing it over concrete because any crash there is going to be 5 times worse. Just try and bring it forward and backwards. And try and stop your momentum there. Maybe even as you're coming back, go a little bit forwards and then pull it back. So that way you're fully stopped, you're not sliding like that. So just back, forwards, back. Side, side, back. Left, right, center. So just try and do that. And next we're going to try and work in some yaw here. So you can see left and right on the throttle stick is what turns it back and forth. You can see there. So if we yaw left, now like I said before, everything, the orientation is all different. So if you can see, I push away from the quad. It's now forwards and backwards instead of left and right. But if you just try and remember that the pink is the front on here, so now the face, the front of it is turned to the left, forwards is that way, backwards will stop it. It's just the same thing, you just have to constantly pay attention to where the nose is. Right there, and if we turn it back, nose in with the front towards us, this is definitely the hardest orientation for a lot of people. Everything is now backwards, so forwards is back and back is forwards. But just try and imagine that you're in the pilot seat and you're flying, and that should help because that's what I do. So next I'm going to basically just add some constant yaw, just a tiny bit, and you'll find that when you're doing turns like this, you're actually going to need hardly any pitch at all, pitch and roll on the right stick, because it keeps its angle. And once again, try and manage your throttle as best as possible. But you can see my sticks weren't even moving at all there. That's the beauty of Acro mode. You don't have to constantly be forcing it like auto level makes you. So just try and go around those a bit faster. Let's just bring it back. Yeah, that's pretty much the first step, just feeling how it holds its attitude. And it'll just keep going until you physically correct it. Like that. So yeah, just try and do a little turn, pitch forward maybe, stop your movement, turn, pitch forward, stop your movement, turn, pitch forward. Just making like a little square here. Hopefully that'll help you a little bit more in the orientation, just so it reinforces that forwards is not where you're standing. As soon as you turn, it's wherever the front is, so you just have to keep that in mind. So just try and do little squares like this, and then maybe you can smooth it out a little bit and make it into a circle, which is what I was doing earlier, just like that. So there we go. So I'm going to come in and land, and when you're landing, just, you know, disarm as soon as you hit the ground. So there we go. That was part 1 for the line of sight Acro tutorial, and there'll definitely be more coming soon with the part 2, which will probably be more intermediate, and part 3. And sorry if the video didn't help you that much. I'm doing the best I can to explain it, but it really just is a practice thing. But hopefully this helped you a little bit, and there will be a link down below to my Patreon if you wish to help support the channel and you enjoy this content, as well as some other videos of this beast deck. So please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.